league football started being telecast, and once I started watching the Premier League, I was hooked, instantly hooked. And at the time, just so happened that Arsenal was going through the purple patches, they say. The Invincibles were playing at the time. Vieira, Lundberg, Perez, Thierry, the King, Henry.
Adams, come on.
Yeah, that squad playing the most three-dimensional, never been witnessed before kind of football. I was like, look at this team. Look at how they play. They play the game in a principled way, the way football should be played, playing it well, winning, and making it look damn good. That's why Arsenal.
Okay, no. So how? Listen, you're telling me you are as big?
You tell me, have you seen a player as graceful on the ball as Henry? The man, he's like a gazelle.
No, I haven't. No, it's true. So there's no bigger Arsenal fan than you, right?
No,
listen. Yes or no?
There are bigger Arsenal fans.
But you're pretty big.
I'm a pretty big
right.
Arsenal fan.
I've got a killer question for you.
Okay. No, don't do it. Don't do it, Manish. Don't do it.
No.
Not that one.
I gotta ask
Not
you
the hashtag.
Lay.
No, please, no.
Lay.
No.
Are you ready? Here we go. If you had the choice, one choice, to choose between Arsenal winning the Premier League or India winning the World Cup.
India winning the World Cup. Come on, I don't even have to think about that.
All right. I just had to test you on that one.
Come on, that's a no-brainer.
So when you met Patrick Vieira and the way your knees wobbled, as you've already just mentioned, did you have an insight as to what it's like then to be a Man fan, to be a fan of someone when you yourself have so many million fans?
I had two incidents. The latter one being with Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
But the first one was with Thierry Henry. He happened to come to Mumbai some time ago. And I didn't know if I was going to be able to make it to meet him that night. But I hustled. I gathered a bunch of friends and I made it. And I was in this, my heart was beating fast and I was trying to get there. And I entered the room and I laid eyes on him. And suddenly all the emotions that I felt watching him play, they all started surging through me. And I was almost moved to tears just seeing this man in person. I have such great reverence. He's one of my favorite footballers of all time.
Yeah.
And the way he was with me, Manish, with such grace, such a humble guy.
He's a cool dude. Yeah.
He's like completely a gentleman and charismatic to another level. The amount of patience he showed with not just me, with everybody who was excited to meet him, it changed me forever. And this is very recently. I have so much more value and respect for the fan-celebrity engagement, that I understand. I used to wonder, how is it that some people meet you and then tears?
Yeah.
I used to find, I had not experienced that myself, so I used to wonder about it. But having been through it, this is the kind of inspiration your idol gives you.
Yeah.
He, after my interaction with him, it's made me more kind, more humble, more generous. The way he treated people, I watch him, admire him, take inspiration from him, and I try and pay it forward because he inspires me. You try to pay that goodness forward.
Yeah.
One of the most memorable interactions of my life. Sorry, can I ask you to leave from there? It's distracting.
It's all happening.
Yeah.
Huh.
He's just like right behind Manish's head.
I thought you were looking at me a bit funny, I'll be honest.
And then at the Emirates, Kate was there. And I was with my best friend who actually initiated me. He is a large part of the reason I became an Arsenal fan is because I used to watch with him. And he was already so passionate about the North London team.
Yeah.
So we were pitchside. We finished all our responsibilities. It was wonderful to be pitchside at the Emirates. It's a gorgeous, gorgeous stadium. And Sadio Mane came out to kind of get a feel of the atmosphere, just get a, feel it out.
Yeah, yeah.
Shook hands with him. I was like, yes, Sadio Mane. And then we were walking through the tunnel. We were done. We were walking through the tunnel. My friend Karan, he was walking ahead of me. And now I want you to imagine, I'm at the end of the tunnel, and I'm walking through, and I'm seeing Karan is walking in front of me, and he makes the turn, and as soon as he makes the turn, he goes like, oh my God. So, so I was like, what's going on here? What's going on? What's going on? And he was bumbling, so he couldn't indicate or communicate to me in that state what he was trying to say. So I was like, what is going on here? And I took the turn. I was like, oh my God. It was Patrick Vieira. He's an imposing figure.
He is, yeah.
Somebody who I'd never, in my wildest imagination, think that I'd get to meet standing in front of me. It was one hell of a moment.
Yeah.
One I'll never forget. I have a picture. So I'm fanboying like crazy over the footballers that I meet. These are people you see on television, cheer for, that you have a sentiment, emotional connection with, because you feel for your team. You watch them week after week. So meeting these people, meeting Henry, meeting Perez, meeting Vieira, meeting Vidic, it's surreal.
When you're shooting your films, do you get time to watch any of the games?
Absolutely.
How?
I make the time.
Are you in between shots?
Because
Listen, in between scenes,
yeah.
I'm picturing you looking at your mobile.
Yeah.
No, is it really
Yeah,
true?
it's true. It's true. That's how you do it. I don't know if I'm allowed to mention the app, but it's definitely on my phone, and it's my favorite app because it allows me to watch the live telecast of the matches. So yeah, first of all, and my manager can vouch for this, every time we're scheduling, it's almost as if there is an understanding we're both conditioned to not keep anything on a Saturday evening or a Sunday evening. That time is a little bit precious.
Unless you're in your hideaway where you're in some hideaway.
Yeah, those 20 days are you can't really focus on anything else. No friends, no family time, no nothing. That's really sacred time in the characterization process. But yeah, if I'm out about doing anything that I can't avoid, the scheduling clash, sometimes matches are at 5 p.m., sometimes 8 p.m., and you're still at work. Then you'll see me with the mobile. They'll be like, sir, shot ready. I was like, yeah, I'm just touching my makeup up. Just be with you in a second. Just wait for the ball to go out of bounds. Okay, yeah, go give the shot, come back. You're watching. There's a certain atmosphere on the set, and sometimes something will happen.
You must drive your director
you'll
crazy.
Just react with expletives, unmentionables. You'll be like, sorry, it's nothing. It's nothing. So yeah, it is. I have to catch that little window to kind of watch the matches. It's great that we have these apps. That way you don't miss out.
Brilliant. Now look, last time I spoke to you, we were still waiting on the release. Of Padmavaat.
Yeah.
I mean, like, blimey, talk about a film that's obviously rocketed since its release back in December. Did it happen in December?
January.
January. So, I mean, you were with us in December. We're waiting. So it's made you a very busy man since then.
Yeah, it's
breaking records all over the place.
Yeah, it's doing something I had never imagined. It's one of those rare films that sort of encompasses everything, the critical acclaim, the commercial success, the love of the audience. And it seems to me, the way audiences have reacted to the film, that it's one of those films for the ages, it's one that will be remembered, because those are the films you really want to be a part of. Films come and films go, but the ones that really matter are the ones that are remembered after years. You can watch it 10 years down the line, 15 years down the line, and still appreciate it. The films that have that timeless quality, those are the ones that you want most in your filmography. I'm very proud to say Padmavaat is seeming to me like it's going to be one of those.
And many congratulations to you on that. But to tie the Bollywood thing in with the football, I mean, if you had to play any footballer in the world in a Bollywood movie, which one would it be?
I don't know. I don't know. Any suggestions? Anyone? Yeah?
Who do you say? Who do you say?
Sunil Chhetri, Robin Singh, I don't know.
Well, if there was a Premier League player that you could emulate. You mentioned Henry. Would you want to play Henry?
I don't have the height to play Vieira. I don't have the looks to play Lundberg.
He's got the hair for Lundberg, to be honest. The energy he's got, yeah.
I think I think I pulled off Alauddin Khilji. So maybe I could be Viraj. What do you think?
Yeah, yeah.
Huh?
Yeah, that's good.
Just a badass. Just like, come at me, bro. Come at me.
And if you talk about you being a big Premier League fan, and I know this time last year during the Movement Conference we had Abhishek come in, and obviously he's a big fan of the Premier League. Do you ever watch games with other members of the Bollywood fraternity? Is there a bit of banter between you guys or not?
There is banter, yes, there is banter for sure. Banter's one of my favorite things. I'm a big trash talker. And sometimes even in a formal sort of engagement, now and then, I'm not able to control my verbal diarrhea, so yeah, I'm a big trash talker. But yeah, Abhishek's a big Chelsea fan.
Yeah.
Arjun Kapoor is a big Chelsea fan. And we go back and forth, bantering with each other a lot.
So what's going to happen on Sunday? With the League Cup final?
I'm biting my nails, honestly. Sometimes I feel like I can't even watch, And I keep telling myself till the last minute, I can't watch. I'm not going to watch. And I'm watching, and I'm heartbroken. And like you said, I usually like to watch alone, unless I'm assured that the people that I'm watching with are the people I want to watch with and not a single extra person.
Yeah.
Otherwise, that viewing thing is very an immersive engagement for me. So I prefer to watch alone unless it's the 3 or 4 people who I know are on the same page.
Yeah.
Because when I can't go to bars and pubs personally, because when people jabber stuff, like I want to get into a fight. So I'd rather, so I just rather watch Shanti Se alone and implode rather than explode, which I think again is going to happen on Sunday.
Actually, I've seen, there's been a story about Rio Ferdinand getting into a hoodie to stand in the away end at a game to watch Manchester United play and not to get grief from all the other supporters around him. Would you ever do something like that?
I mean, Rio's proper thug life, so maybe, I don't know, it's a bit scary. It's a bit scary.
Yeah. It's a bit more comfortable
if
watching
you're Rio Ferdinand, you have the confidence to do it.
Yeah. Well, he played along Vidic, to be honest, so
yeah.
he's no shy at all. Listen, stay on here because you're going to be part of our next panel discussion.
All right.
But that's a great way to warm us up for the panel discussion because it's all about fan engagement.
Super.
And you've spoken about fans and you've been on the receiving end and now how the tide has turned for you with the Patrick Vieira incident. Put your hands together, please, for Ranveer Singh.
Thank you, guys. Thank you.
So as part of this panel discussion, as I'd said, it's entitled Fan Engagement. Now, it's our final discussion of the entire conference after 2 days. It focuses on the on-ground realities then of fan engagement and in the involvement in a unique market like India. So how to build and grow a loyal fan base and subsequently convert the fans into a sustainable revenue stream. So joining Ranveer on set today, please put your hands together for Gaurav Modwell, President of FC Pune City. Arvind Ainagar, CEO, Sports Interactive.
He is.
Tim Vine, Director of International and Public Affairs at the Premier League. And Akshay Tandon, co-owner and club president of FC Goa.
Hello, my friend. Good to see you. All good? Nice. Cheers. Nice to meet you, mate.
Official welcome. Nice to see you. Now, you do really well to get a word in edgeways with let's get the ball rolling. Gaurav, Akshay, I mean, to you both, obviously you've got franchises in the ISL. What are the key factors involved? Tell me about, in terms of building, growing a loyal fan base for football stakeholders in India. You've both got, have you got microphones on, haven't you? Okay, Gaurav, we'll start with you.
Yeah, so if you look at fan bases in India, you can see there are 2 different countries. One where he comes from, which is Goa, Bengal, Northeast, Kerala.
Yeah.
And then there's rest of India. The part that I come from, and you will understand where the fan engagement process starts for us, is at the end of the first year of ISL, once the season was over, first year was very hurried, we never got time to engage with fans. At the end of the first year, we got onto social media, we saw who are the fans who are writing to us, and we had a call out for all the fans to come, and we did a fan meet, bringing all our key players for the fan meet. We are expecting a few thousand to come.
Right.
There were 21 people who walked in.
21.
21. And that's where we sat, and we said, what's the next step? Where do we go from here? And we started a slogan, which is everyone 21. We said, each one of us, let's try to get 21 more guys to come. And that's where the Orange Army, which is now
It's
the
the
militant
official
fan group, official fan group, which is there. And now we have a few thousands. We fill up the stadiums with 8,000-10,000. But it's been a journey which started from there, very unlike Akshay. So I'll leave it to him to explain how it's been in Goa. But for us, it's a very challenging journey from there. But I'm very happy in 2.5 years. We have created a very, very loyal fan base. We travel to various places. There's away travels. And things are improving from there.
So may I?
Hello. You're a moderator.
How is Arjun Kapoor working out?
Arjun is doing pretty well. So
I think he's doing
been-
very well.
he-
I've seen all his expressions in his social media posts. Yeah, just
Yes,
like that.
Yes.
Just like that.
Isn't that too good?
I love it. He
Thankfully,
brings a
we are
great
giving him
energy.
an opportunity to do it because
He's-
we're winning some games.
Yeah, he's bringing good energy. Huh? I mean, honestly, if I may say so, from my point of view, ever since he's associated, there's a great energy around Pune.
Yes. Isn't it helps because he's himself a football fan like you, so it helps in terms of engaging with the fans. So yeah, it's working out well.
Akshay?
So we bought in to FC Goa about 1.5 years ago, at a time when FC Goa was going through quite a tumultuous stage. They weren't sure about whether they were going to continue. There was question about their ownership, and that's what we sort of came into. And I think that's where I learned sort of my first lesson about fan engagement. I come from a marketing background, so I thought fan engagement was, your traditional engagement, and we measure engagement. But I think my first lesson was that engagement is emotional, and purely emotional, because when we came in, initially we were resented. We weren't from there. We came into something, and we had to learn to kind of channel that resentment, because we had to take ownership and realize, look, this is their passion. This is their engagement. Even though they aren't happy about this change and us coming on board, we have to take this and realize that we have to be grateful for the fact that they care enough to not like us, and sort of work from there. And I mean, having a marketing background, our social media engagement numbers were through the roof. But true engagement really comes in, like we saw that beginning of this year, when the product is good, which is the team is playing well, they appreciate what's happening on the pitch, and you're doing something for the youth of Goa and the grassroots and stuff, and that's what really sort of turned it around for us, I think.
But wouldn't the bottom line just be success on the pitch means a bigger fan base? Or is that far too simple?
So I spend a lot of time in understanding a fan and his psychology, because we had to do it. We had to build it from scratch. There was one of the trips when I went to Premier League, and we were meeting a lot of clubs, and we asked them, how do you define a fan? Where does the process start? And a number of times it was when he comes for the first time to the stadium or buys the first season ticket. A lot of time those answers came, and I was left wondering that we will have to think about our own formula, our own framework to look at it, because even the Man United fans or Arsenal fans in India don't fall under the fan definition there, because they would never be going there. So I started personally doing a lot of research work on forming our own model, our own framework. And if I take a couple of minutes to tell you where it comes from.
Yeah, by all means.
So there's an organization behaviorist called David McClelland, who talks about the need of a human being. He did his work about 20 years after the Maslow, and he came out with the 3 important needs that a person has: the need for power, the need for affiliation, and the need for achievement. The NAC, the N affiliation, and N power. And we figured out that fans actually need this, and we started creating a framework in Pune City, which is to create a platform where they engage, so affiliation, they all come together, they go for away matches, they experience things together, they chant together. The second one was for the need for power. So it's a proximity to power. We laid down an access to them to approach us in the club. For that matter, every week, I talk to the fans at least 3 to 4 times through social media. And this is for 2.5 years now. So we have been doing it on a weekly basis with them. A proximity to us, and most important is what you asked about winning, which is a sense of achievement, a need for achievement. And that comes from winning. And we laid down our youth teams. We started participating. We lifted the IFA Shield, which is Joy was talking about, the one which in 1911 Mohan Bagan beat. It's the same shield. Our youth teams went and won that. We're doing much better now, and obviously it helps to win. But there's much more emotional connect.
Tim, in England, engaging the fans is solely down to the clubs, isn't it? So what is the Premier League's perspective on that? Yeah, I like that. Akshay, if you could have this guy as a brand ambassador.
Is it Varun or is it both? Like, I don't know. You're confusing the hell out of us.
It's Virat.
Okay, it's Virat. It's Virat.
Yeah. I think with ambassadors and with sponsors, we have to look at more than one season and more than one campaign. And I think we have to find a way to tell good stories, which can kind of, like in a story which has a 5-year or a 10-year kind of gestation period. So if these are ambassadors that are going to be here for not just 1 year, it's not a one-term deal. Can we come up with a story of how through the grassroots, where we bring a sponsor on board, the ambassador is representing the entire sort of story and not just a particular marketing campaign, is how we go about sort of engaging with, that's what we're trying to do with Virat. In fact, next week, he's launching our foundation for us. The idea is to kind of engage them in initiatives that are going to be there for 10 years as opposed to, we know Virat can't attend matches very often, he's the busiest man in the country, so.
Yeah. Just with you, Ranveer, talking about brand ambassadors, you often sometimes see celebrities, singers being associated with brands they have no connection with. But then there's you and the Premier League, just looks like a natural fit. And some people might be skepticism, but you bring genuine enthusiasm when it sits in your lap and there is that natural link between you and that other brand.
That is of utmost importance to me, that any entity that anything that I associate with has to be genuine.
Yeah.
It has to be bona fide. If it's not the Premier League, let me say it's another thing. I'm selling a toothpaste. I ought to be using that toothpaste, and I ought to be experiencing everything that product promises to me. So I genuinely believe that from the heart. I'm convinced of it, and so I can sell it, endorse it, and only if it's organic, if that association, will it bear fruit, according to me.
Yeah.
This is in my experience. So,
because you can't fake that enthusiasm.
True. Which is why, for a large number of years, there were a lot of sports entities wanting to associate.
Yeah.
But my only thing to them would be, I can't fake it. It will show. The seams will show at some point. It'll show that it's not really heartfelt.
Yeah.
So when the Premier League came along, then I absolutely jumped at it, because there's genuinely a connection there. There's feeling there.
Yeah.
So even if, and I love doing this, I'm always on Twitter with you, watching the matches, tweeting. It really, that energy is real. It's organic, and so it spreads.
Yeah.
So it's got to be legit. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
I'd say from our perspective, I was lucky enough to meet Ranveer back in October when we first had this discussion, and the overriding emotion was definitely genuine enthusiasm when I left that meeting, just bowled over by it. I think now we need to work out how we clone him and roll him out in other markets. That's going to be the big challenge.
Mind
So
you,
any scientists out there, we'll have a word later.
Yeah. I don't think Vidic did his claims much harm. He's been fantastic.
Absolutely.
You wanted to say something?
No, I was just going to say that really explains your association with Durex as well.
Very true, sir.
See, but that doesn't bear
Sir,
fruit.
that was my very first endorsement in my whole life. What does that tell you?
Arvind.
That's just the beauty about sport, right? Because at the end of the day, there are certain things you can get excited about.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to say, man, I love this engine oil, right? Like
Yeah.
no one actually goes thinking about that, right? But you
Yeah.
get a brand ambassador about, sport, Premier League, things just coming through, right? I think
Yeah.
it comes back to that fandom, and most brand ambassadors, if they are genuine fans,
Yeah.
which is easier to find in sport, that just is the perfect
Yeah.
fit.
And that's perfect, but then you have challenging aspects, i.e. the off-season. I mean, what activities do you have to keep the fans engaged during the off-season, for example?
Yeah, that's a great question, and it's particularly true in India, where unlike the rest of the world, where you have leagues that run for 6-9 months. I mean, before this year, it was
Yeah.
like a 3-month season, right? With the ISL, we had a 6-week kabaddi league, and so there, I think it's important to do 3 things, right? One is bank as much relevant content as you can
Yeah.
during the regular season, so you won't have access to the players. How do you still get things going out as often as you can? 2 is to try and stay relevant, right? So how do you pick up a trend that's coming up and still talk about it? So there isn't, once the ISL season is over, can you still talk about India football as a whole? Can you talk about an association with a Premier League club that you're tied into?
Yeah.
And the third is then how do you create offline opportunities to build that fandom, right? And we've made it hard for ourselves because the cricket started the template in India with the Premier League kind of, the IPL window, which was 6 weeks. That's really not the model that's worked anywhere else in the world. And I think you're seeing longer seasons for these other leagues. And it's therefore then just creating a longer in-season, which then can build momentum to the off-season, right?
And what are the unique challenges that are posed by the Indian supporters to the stakeholders as opposed to supporters from other parts of the world?
So that, again, will depend on the sport, right? And I
Right.
think that's one of the things which, you take a sport like kabaddi, which has done phenomenally well, right?
Yeah.
What's really helped is it's been packaged brilliantly by the league, but it's also, you have the best in the world playing there, right? When you take the Indian Super League, that's always going to be a challenge for the diehard football fan to say, hey, this is not Vidic, right? So how do you is it the best quality football? But the league has done a phenomenal job of getting folks who wouldn't even watch the Premier League, right? Getting the flirts and converting them to fans. And so that's where I think you need to figure out what's unique about the Indian market, and then what do you need to do as a challenge to say, even if I don't have best quality of play, how do I bring in the entertainment factor? How do I bring in then, over time, the quality of play? So get people in and convert non-followers into flirts to fans, and then fans to fanatics, right?
Yeah.
Move them up the ladder.
Because you, like you said, Gaurav, earlier, you have to almost measure, I don't know how you do it, as to how you quantify what is a fan. You said that earlier.
So the way I define a fan now is not quantifying, but how I define a fan now is when he gets the bragging right, when you have provided him the bragging rights where he takes a position with his peer set in terms of saying, this is my team, this is the person I support, this is the Bollywood star I support, and you take a position.
Yeah.
The day you take a position, then you keep rationalizing and you're becoming bigger and bigger fan of. So that is the point when I call a fan, when he has taken a position with his peer set.
Yeah.
But one of the things that I wanted to add to off-season activities, and this was one of the experiences, I was talking to a lot of people in Pune after the first season again, and they told me that, you know what these leagues are, what these franchises are, they are circuses. They come to our city, show the circus for 40 days, 50 days, and they go away. These are not clubs. And that stayed with us for a very long time. So we started building our own training facility. We started our academy. We started a women's team. We started an under 13, under 15, under 18 teams. So for us, the season starts with the preseason in August, goes on till May. We are playing throughout.
Wow.
We are conducting tournaments with corporates. So we have a corporate Super Cup, which happens every year now, where corporates are participating, who are based in Pune. We are doing, looking at massive following for the European clubs. We have started a tournament between the supporters club. So a Bayern Munich supporters club versus an Arsenal supporter club. We do a tournament. So even when there are 2 months, when there's no activity, we actually continue to engage with them and conduct a lot of footballing activity.
I think Gaurav's right. continuing activity.
Fans engaged or not?
Well, I think today was a wonderful experience. We engaged with children, myself and Nemanja Vidic, at Andrews Ground. And there you sort of saw the vision actually transpiring, right? At its very core, you want to get young people engaging with football across the world. And football being the beautiful sport, the one that binds the whole world together, transcends boundaries, transcends cultures. It's a language people speak across the world. It's almost, I don't even know what to call it. Is it a language? Is it a religion? Is it an emotion? Football is this amazing thing, you know. And to encourage young people will, you know, that sustainability factor will be, I don't, on an overarching level.